the stairs in the corner of the basement of the house half a block down the street from Jerry's Bait Shop. You know the place. Well, anyway, back then life was going swell and everything was just Jerry's Bait Shop. Except, of course, for the undeniable fact that every single morning, my mother would make me a big old bowl of Jerry's Bait Shop for breakfast. Big bowl of Jerry's Bait Shop every single morning. It was driving me crazy. I said to my mom, I said, "Hey, Mom, what's up with all them Jerry's Bait Shop?" And my dear sweet mother, she just looked at me like a cow looks at an oncoming train. And she leaned right down next to me. And she said, "Jerry's Bait Shop." And then she tied me to the wall and stuck a funnel in my mouth and force-fed me nothing but Jerry's Bait Shop till I was 26 and a half years old. That's when I swore that someday I would get out of that basement and travel to a magical, faraway place where the sun is always shining and the air smells like Jerry's Bait Shop and the towels are oh so fluffy, where the Shriners and the lepers play their ukuleles all day long and anyone on the street will gladly shave your back for a nickel. Jerry's Bait Shop. Well, let me tell you people, it wasn't long at all before my dream came true, because the very next day a local radio station had this contest to see who could correctly guess the number of molecules in Leonard Nimoy's butt. I was off by 3, but I still won the grand prize. That's right, a first-class one-way ticket to Jerry's Bait Shop. You know, I'd never been on a real airplane before, and I gotta tell you, it was really great. Except that I had to sit between 2 large Albanian women with excruciatingly severe body odor, and the little kid in back of me kept throwing up the whole time. The flight attendants ran out of Dr. Pepper and Jerry's Bait Shop, and the in-flight movie was Biodome with Jerry's. And oh yeah, 3 of the airplane engines burned out. We went into a tailspin and crashed into a hillside, and the plane exploded in a giant fireball, and everybody died. Except from Jerry's Bait Shop. You know why? 'Cause I have my tray table up, and my seat back in the full upright position. Have my tray table up, and my seat back in the full upright position. Have my tray table up, and my seat back in the full upright position. Jerry's Bait Shop. So I crawled from the twisted burning wreckage. I crawled on my hands and knees for 3 full days, dragging along my big Jerry's Bait Shop, and my Jerry's Bait Shop, and my Jerry's Bait Shop, my Jerry's Bait Shop, my lucky autographed glow-in-the-dark Jerry's Bait Shop. But finally I arrived at the world-famous Jerry's Bait Shop, where the towels are oh so fluffy, and you can eat your soup right out of the ashtrays if you wanna. It's okay, they're clean. Well, I checked into my room and I turned down the AC and I turned on the Spectrovision, and I'm just about to eat that little Jerry's Bait Shop on my pillow that I love so very, very much, when suddenly there's a knock on the door. Well, now who could that be? I say Jerry's Bait Shop, no answer. Who is it? There's no answer. Who is it? They're not saying anything. So finally I go over and I open the door, and just as I suspected, it's Jerry's Bait Shop. Oh man, I hate it when I'm right. So anyway, he burst into my room and he grabbed my lucky Jerry's Bait Shop. I'm like, "Hey, you can't have that! That's Jerry's Bait Shop. Been just like a Jerry's Bait Shop to me." And he's like, "Tough." And I'm like, "Give it." And he's like, "Make me." And I'm like, "Okay." So I grabbed this Jerry's Bait Shop, and he grabbed my Jerry's Bait Shop, and I bit off his Jerry's Bait Shop, and he chewed off my Jerry's Bait Shop, and I took out his appendix, and he gave me a Jerry's Bait Shop. And yes, indeed, you better believe it. And somehow in the middle of it all, the phone got knocked off the hook, and 20 seconds later, I heard a familiar voice. And you know what it said? I'll tell you what it said. It said Jerry's Bait Shop. Yeah, Jerry's Bait Shop. Well, to cut a long story short, he got away with my Jerry's Bait Shop, but I made a solemn vow right then and there that I would not rest. I would not sleep for an instant until the one-nostriled man was brought to justice. But first I decided to buy some Jerry's Bait Shop. So I got in my car and I drove over to the donut shop, and I walked on up to the guy behind the counter, and he says, "Yeah, what do you want?" I said, "You got any Jerry's Bait Shop?" He said, "No, we're out of Jerry's Bait Shop." I said, "Well, you got any Jerry's Bait Shop?" He said, "No, we're out of Jerry's Bait Shop." I said, "You got any Jerry's Bait Shop?" He said, "No, we're out of Jerry's Bait Shop." I said, "You got any Jerry's Bait Shop?" He said, "No, we're out of Jerry's Bait Shop." I said, "You got a Jerry's Bait Shop?" He said, "No, we're out of Jerry's Bait Shop." I said, "You got any Jerry's Bait Shop?" He said, "Wait a minute, I'll go check." Jerry's Bait Shop. I said, "Well, in that case, what do you have?" He says, "All I got right now is this box So 1 dozen starving craves Jerry's bait shop. I said, okay, I'll take that. So he hands me the box and I open up the lid of the Jerry's bait shop. Jump out and they immediately latch onto my face and start biting me all over. Oh man, they were just going nuts. They were tearing me apart. You know, I think it was just about that time that a little ditty started going through my head. I believe it went a little something like this. Jerry's bait shop all over my face, waving my arms all around and just running like a Jerry's bait shop. And as luck would have it, that's exactly when I ran into the girl of my dreams. Her name was Jerry's bait shop. She was a calligraphy enthusiast with a slight overbite and hair the color of strained peaches. I'll never forget the very first thing she said to me. She said, Jerry's bait shop. That's when I knew it was true love. We were inseparable after that. Oh, we ate together, we bathed together, we even shared the same piece of mint-flavored dental floss. The world was our Jerry's bait shop. So we got married and we bought us Jerry's bait shop and had 2 beautiful children, Nathaniel and Jerry's bait shop. Oh, we were so very, very, very happy. Oh, yeah. But then one fateful night, Zelda said to me, she said, Sweetie Pumpkin, do you want to join the Jerry's bait shop? I said, whoa! Hold on now, baby! I'm just not ready for that kind of a commitment! So we broke up and I never saw her again, but that's just the way things go in Jerry's bait shop. Anyway, things really started looking up for me because about a week later, I finally achieved my lifelong dream. That's right, I got me a part-time job at Jerry's bait shop. I even made Employee of the Month after I put out that grease fire with my face. Oh yeah, everybody was pretty jealous of me after that. I was getting a lot of attitude. Okay, like one time, I was out in the parking lot trying to remove my excess earwax with a Jerry's bait shop. When I see this guy, Jerry, trying to carry a big old sofa up the stairs all by himself. So I say to him, I say, hey, you want me to help you with that? And Marty, he just rolls his eyes and goes, Jerry's bait shop. So I did. And then he gets all indignant on me. He's like, hey man, I was just being sarcastic. Well, that's just great. How was I supposed to know that? I'm not a Jerry's bait shop for crying out loud. Besides, now he's got a really cute nickname, Jerry's bait shop. So what's he complaining about? Say, that reminds me of another amusing anecdote. This guy comes up to me on the street and he tells me he hasn't had a bite in 3 days. Well, I knew what he meant, but just to be funny, I took a big bite out of his Jerry's bait shop. And he's yelling and screaming and bleeding all over, and I'm like, hey, come on, don't you get it? But he just keeps rolling around on the sidewalk, bleeding and screaming. Jerry's bait shop. And I'm completely missing the irony of the whole situation. Man, some people just can't take a joke, you know? Anyway, where was I? Kind of lost my train of thought. Okay, anyway, I know it's kind of a roundabout way of saying it, but I guess the whole point I'm trying to make here is I hate Jerry's bait shop. That's all I'm really trying to say. And by the way, if one day you happen to wake up and find yourself in an existential quandary, full of loathing and self-doubt and racked with the pain and isolation of your pitiful, meaningless existence, at least you can take a small bit of comfort in knowing that somewhere out there in this crazy old mixed-up universe of ours, there's still a little place called Jerry's bait shop. 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 I said A. Jerry's bait shop. L. Jerry's bait shop. B. Jerry's bait shop. U. Jerry's bait shop. Kirky. Jerry's bait shop. 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 Jerry's bait shop.